Welcome back. You're watching The Gavel. On the breakdown this week, the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC, speaks on the Special Seats Bill, which has killed second reading in the House of Representatives.
A bill to create special seats for women in the National and State Houses of Assembly passed second reading in the House of Representatives. This bill is sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, and it also has 12 other co-sponsors. The bill proposes amendment to certain sections of the Constitution, and it proposes the creation of one additional seat in the Senate that will be contested by only women. It also proposes additional seats in each of the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT that will be contested by women, and this totals 74 seats. At the state level, that's for the State Houses of Assembly, it's proposing that 3 special seats for women be created in each of the 36 states, totaling 108. This will be the second time that this bill is coming before the National Assembly. The bill was initially introduced in the 9th National Assembly by Honorable Nkiru Uzodi, who was the then Deputy Chief Whip, but it failed to pass. It was vetoed during voting on Constitution Alteration Bills in March 2022. Now this bill is being reintroduced, and the purpose of the bill really is to remedy the low representation of women in the National and State Houses of Assembly, which stands at 4%, at least in the National Assembly stands at 4%. There are only 16 women in the House of Reps, and there are only 4 senators that are women in the Senate. And these figures are really abysmal. Nigeria is recorded for having one of the lowest numbers of women in parliament in sub-Saharan Africa, and is actually at the bottom 10 globally. So the whole idea of this bill is to create a temporary special measure that will enable more women get elected into parliament. And this is actually not novel. This is a practice that is used in so many other countries and other jurisdictions. It's quite popular in Africa. It's used in countries like Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. And this particular type of affirmative action is used specifically in countries that run first-past-the-post system, like Nigeria. So the challenge is that countries that run electoral systems, the first-past-the-post electoral systems, is quite difficult for women to get elected into parliament. But countries that operate the proportional representation system tend to find it easier to get more women into their parliaments. The bill is being proposed as a temporary special measure in the Constitution. It's not meant to be in existence, forever. There's a proposal that there's something called a sunset clause in the proposal, which means that after a number of years, it's going to be reviewed. I think for many people, the question is going to be, why is this needed? Whether women actually face special barriers. Yes, women face very, very unique barriers when it comes to contesting for office. The electoral process or electoral environment is highly competitive, and a lot of women lack access to resources, especially financial resources, to run for elections. Men have more access to gain the credentials, the financial resources, the personal income and wealth that is needed to actually run for elections. Then there's also the issue of stereotypes. There's culture and religion, and there's this expectation, that women should take on certain roles and shouldn't take on certain roles. And because of that, you see that lots of women are averse, to contesting and running for politics. And there's also the issue of violence, which is very prevalent in our electoral system. So these are some of the very unique challenges that women face. So the whole idea of this bill and, other temporary special measures or affirmative action proposals is to kind of, boost the numbers of women in parliament, make it easier, or like help them garner the electoral experience that they need to compete. So that in subsequent electoral cycles, they must have built up structures, resources, networks that can help them compete and run successfully with men. Like I mentioned, this bill failed in the 9th Assembly and it's being reintroduced in the 10th Assembly. It just passed second reading and it has been referred to the Committee on Constitution Review. And some of the reasons why it failed, is because of, poor knowledge and awareness of the contents of the bill, of the problem it's seeking to address. Some people feel it's anti-democratic, and, some of those arguments came up during the second reading. One of the legislators said, it was discriminatory to men, but this is meant to be a temporary special measure. And I think there also needs to be lobbying. The last time, a lot of male legislators said that there was inadequate lobbying by civil society organizations and women organizations on the bill. So there needs to be a lot of effort put into it.